Hey guys, YouTuber Unhooded here. Alright, and now here I am with another DC Extended Universe review. And now next up, this is going to be a review for Wonder Woman 1984. This movie was released on Christmas Day in 2020, and this is really where I really was not really following DC movies anymore. This was really just like when I just stopped following them and really wasn't really paying attention to them anymore and when they were released. So pretty much like going forward, like from this point, pretty much from on, I really wasn't really following the DC movies anymore. Like I up to this point, like in the movies from this one all the way till like the ones that have been released so far, not counting the Flash, which is coming out like officially tomorrow. Yeah, like I've only seen like a one DC movie in between this time, and and that one was Black Adam. The other three movies that from DC that came out during this point, I really haven't seen any of them prior to me watching them to make these reviews. I just stopped following DC movies after this. Yeah, this was still during when the COVID pandemic was still like a big thing. And this was still during the time when the new releases were being released onto streaming platforms at this point this was when the movie theaters were open back up after they were forced to close due to COVID. yeah so yeah so this movie was actually released in theaters, but it was also released on HBO Max when it was released. This was one of those movies that ended up being released in theaters and on streaming platforms. Yeah, and and a lot of people did opt to see this movie on HBO Max rather than actually seeing it in the theater. And as I've said before, I just am not in support of that. Like I am not in support of seeing the new releases on the streaming platforms over seeing it in the theater. Like I still do like am a supporter of the movie theater, and that's how new releases should be seen first. Yeah. So and with this being released on the streaming platform, this was released on HBO Max when it was released. I just was not really. I just really didn't see this movie. Yeah, I just wasn't really. I didn't watch it, and like I said, I just really stopped really paying attention until when DC movies were being released. So I didn't actually see this movie when it was originally released. Yeah. And as far as this movie goes, when it came out, it received a kind of a mixed reaction. Some people liked it and some people didn't. So it really is just a film where people are really gonna feel either way about it. There's not really any guarantee on what people will really think about it when they go see it, because it's really just gonna come down to people either can like it or people can not like it. And that was really how it turned out. Yeah. Me personally, how did I feel about this movie? Well, I would say that overall, I think that this is still a pretty solid movie. Despite the fact that it really is not anywhere as good as the first Wonder Woman movie, I still did find myself kind of still enjoying it enough. Now there is a lot of problems with the movie. This movie, like uh it's very cliched and it's really corny at times, and just it's not really as action packed as the first film was. This movie really does just have a lot more of just the characters really talking rather than it really being filled with action like the first film did have a lot of. So this film is definitely a much slower in pace than the first film was, and it's really not as interesting. And like I said, it really is just very cliched, because this film really just has a lot of cliches that you would think a movie like this really would have. The film really is just filled with cliches. You got the whole thing where you have a side character who the main character befriends, but then yeah, there's a problem that ends up being caused. Then you got the villain who really is taking up a whole bunch of power and refusing to give it up, and then it causes like a whole bunch of problems for like everyone else. And then yeah, then he refuses to give up the power, but then yeah, then as time goes by, the friend ends up turning on the main character, refusing to like the power, trying to help so they don't lose what they love, and then yeah, then it causes some tension, and then yeah, then you get fights between the main character and the friend, and then yeah, then you get the a main character going at it with the villain. So yeah, so it's very cliched, and it really does seem really corny, because yeah, it really just is you really are just seeing stuff that we really have seen a lot before in films like this. And to be honest, it's really just not really that interesting to watch. And yeah, and it does get a kind of just a really it just kind of drag you out of it, because just as you're watching this, you're just seeing really, we're this is what they're doing. I mean, the first film really was just so great, and this one really just seems like a real step down. And yeah, I would say that as a follow up to the first film, this film really did go it did seem like a step down from the first film. And yeah, and it is very cliched and corny, like I said, but it really is never actually really boring. As I'm watching this, I'm not actually really bored with it. But yeah, there is still a lot of stuff that really doesn't work about it. So yeah, so that stuff really does stop this film from really being a really good to great film. But yeah, we still do overall have a pretty solid film here. Yeah. So yeah, so in this film, it is once again as the title suggests, it is once again kind of a prequel to the other films. As the title says, this film is set in the year 1984. So I don't know really what the deal is with DC with having the Wonder Woman movies act as prequels. Why couldn't they have just made a movie with Wonder Woman in the present time? Have something with her after the events of Justice League. Have her uh, be in the modern world fighting crime as Wonder Woman. Why do they feel the need to really like have it be a prequel once again, and have it set in the past rather than having it set in the present? That I really am not sure about at all. It did work for the first film, because I mean, it was set in the Civil War, talking about her origins after when Bruce Wayne did discover her in Batman versus Superman. It did kind of make sense to really tell the story. But why did they do it again? Have it set in the past again? What's the point of it? So yeah, I really don't understand why they felt the need to do that. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, and we still do have a Gal Gadot coming back as Wonder Woman, and once again she is a pretty good in the film. Yeah, and then yeah, then we also do have a new cast members Kristen Wiig is in the film, and we have Pedro Pascal in the film. And yeah, and in this film, we also do have Chris Pine returning as Steve Trevor. And to be quite honest, I felt that that wasn't really necessary. Why did they feel the need to really bring Steve Trevor back after he died in the first film? I really don't understand why they really did feel the need to bring him back. I mean, I really feel that they really should have just kept him dead and left him out of this movie. Have have a Diana like have her either be on her own, or maybe find another love interest in the film. I really felt that bringing Steve back kind of did sort of destroy the emotion between his death and the connection between the two of them at the end of the first film. Because yeah, here it this kind of does also fall into what I said about the cliche. Because him coming back in this film, the stuff they do with him, it's just very cheesy and kind of silly. So yeah, so bringing Steve back for the film, I felt was really unnecessary, and I do think that that probably is one of this film's flaws. Yeah, but yeah, regardless, yeah, despite all the flaws the movie does have, yeah, we still do overall have a pretty solid film here. Yeah, I mean, the story it's telling, while it is a step down from the story of the first film, it is still told pretty well despite all its cliches. Yeah, and like I said, for what this film does, while it's very corny and cliched, it's never boring. So yeah, so I find it really hard to say that this film isn't at least good. So yeah, so I do think that this overall is a pretty good film, and while it's not as great as the first film, and some people may think that this film really is like a pretty big disappointment, I still think it is worth at least watching once. Yeah, so all I can really say is just I can't really guarantee you'll like this film, but it is still at least worth watching to draw your own conclusion. So yeah, so I would say give the film a watch and just decide for yourself what you think. All right. So yeah, so I guess I'll just start talking about the premise of the movie. All right, so the film once again starts with a flashback with Diana as a child. It shows her competing in an athletic competition against adult Amazons on the Mascara. Yeah, yeah. And as she's racing, like it shows how at one point, as she ends up falling off her horse, she ends up taking uh, what is considered a shortcut, and she ends up missing a checkpoint, and as a result of that she ends up being removed from the race by Antio for what is considered cheating. Yeah, and then uh she's just told that anything worthwhile must be obtained honestly. And then while Diana was very upset and disappointed with being disqualified from the race, Hippolyta just advises her to be patient in her pursuit of glory and honor. Yeah. So what I wonder is why did they open up the movie with that? What was really the point of that? Because I mean, didn't we already see her like, uh, uh, get her glory and honor in the first film? So yeah, so I don't really understand why they opened the film with that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, then the film cuts to the year 1984. It shows how Diana is still performing heroic deeds as a Wonder Woman. It shows how she stops a robbery at a mall. Oh, and ends up recovering some jewelry the assailants are attempting to steal. And yeah, yeah, they're just trying to steal some antiquities and stuff, and Wonder Woman stops them, yeah, and recovers them. Yeah. And it shows how now Diana is now working in a Smithsonian institution in Washington D.C. And yeah, and it shows there's this new employee at the museum, Barbara Minerva, and it shows how she's really just a very shy and awkward kind of woman. But it shows how she's studies geology and cryptozoology. Yeah, and yeah, then it shows how she's very unpopular amongst the other workers at the museum. Kind of similar to what they did with Max Dillon in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, but yeah, it shows how she meets Diana and they really do form a friendship with each other. Yeah. And then it's then explain how the museum was asked by the FBI to identify the stolen antiquities from the mall that Wonder that Diana stopped from being stolen as Wonder Woman. Yeah. Something that I'm wondering here though is that how does nobody in the film and none of Diana's workers or any of the other people no, how can they not tell that Diana is Wonder Woman? Her face is just totally exposed while she's Wonder Woman. It's not like she's wearing a mask or anything. She has a completely recognizable face. So how does nobody even know that she's Wonder Woman? So yeah, that I am just really not understanding. Is the man over her head supposed to hide her secret identity or something? I don't really know. Yeah, but anyway, continuing. Yeah, then yeah, then it's shown that one of the artifacts acts is known as the Dreamstone, which is claiming to grant the holder of it one wish. Yeah, but then as Diana and Barbara are investigating it um they're not really taking the inscription on the artifact seriously. But after Diana ended up saving Barbara from an assailant alien in town by using her powers, Barbara then made a wish by saying how she was really a strong and cool Diana. And so yeah, as a result of that, Diana was then well, not Diana, Barbara was then like granted like the same superpowers as Diana had. Yeah. And then yeah, then it was also like shown how Diana was still like a yearning for Steve, yeah. And then yeah, then it was shown how at like a party, Steve was resurrected and was reincarnated in another guy's body, and then it showed Diana and Steve reuniting. Yeah, and like I said, what they do with Diana and Steve in the film, especially like the stuff that Steve does in the film, it is just like a very cheesy and corny. So yeah, like I said, I really would have preferred if they just did not bring Steve back for this film. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, and then yeah, and it shows like in this film how like there's this man named Maxwell Lorenzo, also known as Max Lord. Yeah, this is yeah, Maxwell Lord the Fourth in the comics. Yeah, it shows how like he's like a, a failing businessman, and shows how like he is trying to form a connection with his son, but he's like really caught up in his work, but it's failing. Yeah, so yeah, so then after like a Max Lord ends up discovering the Dreamstone, he then ends up like stealing it in a hope to use its power to save his company that's like on the verge of dying. Yeah. Then yeah, then he made a wish to become the stone and gain its powers. Yeah, and so then yeah, then the Dreamstone ended up just disintegrating and then just kind of merged itself into Max Lord, and so then yeah, then it showed how like he really did have the ability to pretty much have the powers of the Dreamstone, and he is actually able to grant wishes to people. Yeah, but yeah, it shows that like in this film, like there's also he also does have the power to whenever he does grant someone's wishes, he does have the ability to take something away from the wisher. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, and this goes on like throughout the film. Like it just shows how he's talk he comes across people and like they are in like some sort of a predicament, and they make wishes, and then their wish is granted, but Max ends up taking something from them as well, making him more powerful as the film progresses. Yeah. Yeah. Then as Diana then eventually discovered that the Dreamstone was actually created by the god of lies, who is known as uh, Dolos or Mendacious. I think that's how it's said. Yeah, who was also known as the Duke of Deception, and yeah, she then learns how the stone is able to grant a user's wish, but exacts like an equally strong toll unless the wisher renounces their wish or the stone is destroyed. Yeah. Yeah, and it's showing how due to Diana's wish, her powers are really diminishing, and so is Barbara's humanity. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's shown that despite the fact that they can regain themselves by not renouncing their wish, like uh neither one of them actually do want to renounce their wish. Yeah. And so then, yeah, then later on, as Max then paid a visit to the U.S. president, he asked the president if he had a wish, and the president then made a wish for more nuclear missiles as protection against the Soviets. Yeah, but yeah, it ended up showing how they ended up being detected, and then yeah, then it ended up bringing the world to a brink of a nuclear war. Yeah, and yeah, and then it just showed how like due to Max's power, there's a whole bunch of worldwide chaos and instability throughout the entire world. Yeah. So yeah. So despite the fact that this film does take place in 1984, Nostalgia Critic said in his review how this really does kind of seem more like a film that's in 2020. Yeah, and that is what it kind of does seem like. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Then Max eventually learned of how there's a secret satellite system that is actually able to broadcast anyone in the world, and yeah, and Max then discovered that his powers are causing his body to deteriorate, so he like he plans to like use the satellite system to grant wishes to the entire global world to steal strength and life force from everyone and regain his health. Yeah. Yeah, then as Diana and Steve then tried to confront him and stop what he was doing, eventually Barbara then jumped in and then like uh, attacked Diana and Steve, even siding with Max. Yeah, because like I said, she really does not want to give up her power and doesn't want it to be lost. So she like was wanted to prevent Diana from actually stopping Max from what he's doing, so she doesn't lose her power. Then eventually Max and Barbara were then able to escape on the Marine One ship. Yeah, and then as Diana then tried to go after Barbara and Max, due to her powers um uh being diminished and her not being as powerful, and Barbara really overpowering her, then Steve then was able to convince Diana to renounce her wish to have him back and let him go. And then Diana then ended up agreeing to it, so she renounced her wish, and as a result of that, then she ended up regaining her entire strength. And then as Diana then went after Max and Barbara, showed how she donned the armor of the greatest of all Amazon warriors, Asteria. Yeah. And then as she arrived at the satellite headquarters, she then came across Barbara again, but showing how now Barbara had transformed into a humanoid form of a cheetah because she made a wish to Max to become an apex predator. So we got this fight between Diana and Barbara. And then as Diana was still unable to convince Barbara to renounce her wish, then Barbara then Diana ended up shocking Barbara in the ocean and taking her out. Then as Diana removed Barbara from the water, she then went after Max, and then as she tried to go after Max, there was just so much power as Max was trying to use the device to communicate with the world. Then as she wasn't able to actually get to him to stop him, she then wrapped the lasso of truth around Max, unbeknownst to him, and then she then was able to persuade everyone to then renounce their wish. Which then everyone did, and then Max lost his powers. Then after then she then ended up showing some visions to Max about his childhood, how he did have a very bad childhood and showing how his son Alistair was really frantically searching for him amid all the chaos in the world. After seeing all this, Max then realized the error of his ways, and so then he renounced his wish and then reunited with Alistar as everyone else's wishes were renounced and everything returned to normal, including Barbara. And then it just showed him Max reuniting with his son. But then that's all we see of it. We don't really see what the outcome really is, or what does happen with Max after this. It just ends up cutting away. Then it then cut to the present day, and then it showed Diana a meeting with the guy that was possessed by Steve. Then they just had a small conversation with each other, and Diana really was really really receptive to it because she really did just see Steve in him. Yeah. And then it just showed the film ended with Diana once again as Wonder Woman, flying through the skies, and then when she heard some the sounds of sirens or something, she then sprung into action as Wonder Woman, and that's how the movie ended. But then we then got a mid credit scene as it showed uh, there was this woman who was believed to be a Diana walking along, and this woman approached her to thank her, but then it was revealed to be the real Asteria, as she's is actually like alive and being declared like secretly heroic and living among the humans. So she's pretty much living the same life as Diana. Yeah. So yeah. So I'm not sure if like maybe this could carry over to something else. I don't know if this may like carry over to the next Wonder Woman movie, or maybe like we'll get like an Asteria spin-off movie or what. I guess only time will tell for that. Yeah. But yeah, and we got like that little teaser. Yeah. So yeah. So like I said, I do overall think this is a pretty solid movie. It is like a pretty cliche, like I said once again, with like the story that it's telling, with like the villain and his story being like very cliched, and the stuff with Steve is very cheesy. And yeah, and there is like stuff about the film that really doesn't work. But yeah, I do find it hard to say that this film is not good, because yeah, the story is still like told like pretty well, and like I said, it's never boring. So yeah, so it is like a step down from the first film, as I said, but yeah, overall, it is still a really solid film. So yeah, so like I said, I give the film 3 stars out of 4. So yeah, so as I said, I can't really like guarantee that you will actually like this film, but yeah, all I can really say is just to check the film out and just decide for yourself what you think, because yeah, it really just comes down to something you're either gonna like or not like it. So it'll really just go either way, depending on what you can really handle. All right. So yeah. So I guess that's the best way I can put it. All right. So yeah. So I guess this is all I really have to say about the film. All right. So yeah. So that's it for my review of Wonder Woman 1984. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Yeah. And stay tuned for some more of these reviews coming, as I'm like kind of narrowing it down to all the all of the films in the DC Extended Universe so far. I only got a few more to go up until Flash, which I am going to talk about this weekend. Yeah, so yeah, only got a few more left. Yeah, so stay tuned for the other few more reviews coming up. All right, but I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.